Hello guys, I'm Futureal. I stream 5 days a week over on twitch.tv/Futureal, and in this video we are coming in with Project Diablo 2 Beta Season 8. For 7 seasons we have played reasonable, kind of strong builds, and we have tried to make them as good as we can, and in this season coming up we are trying to do some of the janky builds, some of the clown builds, some of the meme builds. And in this video I have decided to make one build for each class, and we're going to showcase how you can play a really fun build. Might not be winning any speedrunning records, but it definitely will be entertaining. So I hope you will enjoy the video, and if you do, leave a like and a subscribe, and don't forget to share the video and write down below. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon. So, for the first build we're trying, guys, this is actually the build or the class that we had the most difficulties with creating a meme build for. This is, of course, the Assassin. The Assassin is very, very strong overall as a character in PD2. It was difficult to make a meme, like a meme build that didn't feel just terrible. It was either a meta build or it was something that was too terrible. So we have come to a kind of a compromise. The build isn't as good as I would want, but the other alternatives that we had would either be worse or they were too good. So we came up with it's a kind of a unique way of playing the build. So let me just jump through the build first, and then we will check out the gear real quick. And let me just say up front, these meme builds or like clown builds, they're not going to be budget. If you want to budget these builds, it's going to be horrible. So all these builds that you are going to see in this video will be on the pricier side, because that's what it takes to have fun with a clown build. Basically, like straight up. That's just the way it is. So let's just go through the build, and I will try to explain what we are doing. So, we are playing Death Sentry. So Death Sentry is going to be carrying the damage. We still have points in both of the synergies, so Fire Blast and Wake of Inferno. We have maxed both of those, but we're not using them. Only using Death Sentry. In here, we are using Fade. We have maxed Fade because we are not running a shield or claws. So we have Fade for safety, for damage reduction, and resistances. You see our res here is kind of yikes. And we have nothing in martial arts because we are in fact playing Enigma. So the point of the build is to proc Desecrate from Viper Fork. See, there's a 9% chance to proc Desecrate on strike, and then blow it up with Death Sentry. So then that's physical, that's fire damage. That's why we have fire facets in here. There's an alternative to Maros to just play amplified damage, and the mercenary is boosting fire damage with both Flickering Flame and Infinity. On swap we have just CTA, of course. You could, on this character, on swap, sacrifice 2 skills to battle orders and go with a Phoenix for the redemption aura. You are going to have a bit of issues with life and mana on this, because the traps are killing everything. So you're not getting mana per kill and leech and all those things. So having a redemption on swap here might be a good idea if you have the budget for that. The rest of the gear as just Shaco. We have a Cham Rune because there is no other Canopy Frozen here. And the rest is plus skills. Fire skill on the gloves, BK for skill, Wisp for skill, and Arachnids for skill. And we have hit recovery with the Trex, because we do get hit from time to time because we are running Blade Shield. Blade Shield helps us proc more Desecrates. So these meme builds in general are best played in a tier 1, high density tier 1, as high as possible. So I would say like above 175, ideally above 200, if you can get that. So obviously higher tier maps would be more difficult, more incoming damage, higher health, all those kinds of things. So I would recommend, particularly for hardcore, that you stay on tier 1. If you play on softcore, you can go to other tiers, or if you have exceptionally good gear or you become very good at playing the character, try different types of maps. But in general, I would stick to tier 1 maps with this this entire project. We have spawned a Torajan jungle map here, which is going to be probably the best map for this this character. We can open that. Quick look at the inventory. It's just Torch Annihilus, 9 trappers, and some rest life here. I haven't even checked if this rest life is correct, actually. We might have too many poison rest charms in here because of Fade, but that's not a big deal. It's not the point of this entire thing. It's more like to showcase the Viper Fork Death Sentry synergy. So we jump in and we buff up here. So because we have a really quick attack speed on the weapon, on the Viper Fork, 50 attack speed, we can play Fade and have those defensive stats. So let's just go over here. So put down traps, and you use Blade Fury to proc to proc the first Desecrate, and then you just supply with traps like this. So it's a really cool build. I would have wished that it's a little bit faster, but it's definitely a functioning build. It does help to have a beefy mercenary up front, particularly to get that first corpse. But yeah, this absolutely functions quite well. It will drag off, of course, on higher tier maps because of the max health on creatures. So you see, I'm just cycling between Blade Fury and Death Sentry here. So if I see that there's a corpse down, or the mercenary is hitting something that's about to die, just spam some traps. If you don't have anything, go Blade Fury, spawn some Desecrates, down with the Death Sentries. So a very, very cool build. As I said, these clown builds that are utilizing particular items or skills that are rarely used, they will not be budget. But it's for someone who has played the game for many, many years. They have played everything there is to play, and they would just want to try something different. It's a very cool build. Maybe there are ways of making it a little bit better. But as far as we had time to test on this beta phase here, this is as good as we could make it. So I hope you did enjoy the Assassin, and if you are someone who has been playing this game for many, many years, definitely check out one of these meme builds that we are presenting today, and let me know how you like it. We're gonna be jumping over to the next character, and I will see you in a few seconds. Time for Sorceress. So you have just seen the Assassin in the first clip here. We're gonna jump into the Sorceress, and this is a Enchant Bow Sorceress. So we are playing Widowmaker. These shales are just because we are lacking corruptions, so we had to go like crazy on the shales to reach the attack speed. So don't worry too much about that. When you have corruptions, the build is gonna look a little bit different. But let's just go over the build real quick first. It is standard though, based on Enchant Sorceress from before. So you max Enchant, Warmth, and Fire Mastery. That's the core of your build. And then we also wanted to have Energy Shield, so we took 1 Energy Shield, 1 Static, and maxed Telk. It gives more Absorb by doing the Synergy first. I find myself using Static Field very, very rarely, so you can opt into not taking Static Field here. For Cold, since we are doing Shiver Armor, that does activate Cold Enchant. We also take 1 point in Cold Mastery, just to give that a little bit more damage. You can also opt out of this point if you don't wish to emphasize that, since the majority of our inventory is boosting fire damage and not cold. And then in the Lightning, we also dumped the remaining points in Energy Shield, just to give ourselves a little bit more Absorb. Mercenary, standard Infinity Mercenary. Laying of Hands, String, Gore, Templar, Andes, and Infinity. Very, very standard. Same as the build on the Assassin. Oh, the Assassin actually used Flickering Flame Helmet, but the rest is the same. And we have some Sirens going past. That's interesting. Not the first time. CTA Lidless, of course, on swap. We are using Widowmaker for the multi-shot. So multi-shot is what's going to be carrying this. Giant Skull for Pierce. Chucked in a bunch of res attack speed in here because we need that attack speed because we have no corruptions. Rising Sun for fire skills, enemy fire res. Corpseborn, added fire damage. This is a really big armor for this build. Definitely get a Corpseborn if you want to play this build. We have Hellmouth, enemy fire res, and added fire damage. Raven, cannot be frozen. Attack rating, all those juicy stats. Also adds to a cold enchant. Gives us slow with cold damage. Razor Tail for Pierce. Must have Pierce in this build to make it work. Wisp for attack rating and skill. Pierce attack speed over here. No corruptions, of course, so it is a little jank. And then Sandstorm Trek for poison, since we are using Energy Shield. The only rest that you really need to worry about with Energy Shield is poison. So Trex is a good choice with very, very heavy poison rest. Inventory is Fire Skillers. I think maybe a mix between Fire Skillers and 4% Fires might be better. But because of Fire Mastery, and that being calculated additively and not multiplicatively, I believe that Fire Skillers might be the strongest, but there is a chance that a mix could be potentially a little bit better. Not a big deal for the testing purposes. And then we do have fire damage, life, small charms here. And just Torch and Annie. So the build is quite straightforward. And as I said in the previous video, or the previous clip, stick to tier 1 maps, particularly if you're hardcore. These clown builds are usually best played on tier 1. So the jungle map for a fire build is very, very solid. So we're going to jump into that and see what we can do. So we buff up here. And then we buff those two again. So we have Energy Shield, we have Heart of the Wolverine, we have a buffed Mercenary, and yeah, let's go. So you see Molten Boulder proccing. We have a nice little concave of arrows. The nice thing with this build is that you have teleport, of course, because you're a sorceress. So you can dart forward like this and be a bit more efficient in that way. Obviously, as well, since we don't have corruptions, mana per kill and life per kill is problematic. So if you are playing this build on live, definitely make sure that you have a little bit of life per kill and a little bit of mana per kill. It will make this build feel a lot better to play. You are maybe in a situation like I am now, if you have enough plus skills, that mana per kill loses a bit of value because your plus skills in warmth become so unbelievably large. So if you check out our mana bar, it is rarely dropping, but if you find yourself not being able to sustain your mana, get a little bit of mana per kill, and definitely get some life per kill as well to help you be sustained. So this Enchant Bow Sorceress is working quite well, particularly in like corridor maps like this. And if you want to, you can play a bit more aggressive with teleporting forward. Also, like repositioning your mercenary. This is a pretty cool build. And really, really high survivability when you have Energy Shield and max Telekinesis. Because we're using a O skill from a weapon, you don't have a lot of main skill points to put in, so you have a lot of skill points spare, which means that you can get pretty defensive with this build. So like even with that density right there with elites and everything, we just plow straight through it. It is really, really nice. So this is one of the builds that I liked more when it came to these meme builds, or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, definitely check out the Enchant Sorceress, the Enchant Bow Sorceress, if you want to play something completely different. It is a solid build. Obviously, not going to win any speedrunning competitions, but if you have played everything else, this is pretty good. Oh, we have a question from chat here. How much damage does Corpse Explosion do? Virtually nothing, because this Corpse Explosion is unsynergized. So it's gonna be really, really bad. I can put it on the bar here if you want to see. Yeah, so I don't know how many Corpse Explosion that was, but it was a lot. And it does not work very well. Because of the lack of synergies that you would have as a Necromancer. So definitely this Corpse Explosion is just for shits and giggles. It does not play a role in the build. But okay, check out the Sorceress if you want to play something different with this character. It's very, very nice. I do like it quite a lot. And over to the next. Time for the next build, guys. This is the Hydra Paladin, but it's a Hydra Paladin with a twist. So we are pretty much running the same as on the previous two builds. So we are running the Flickering Flame, like we did on the Assassin, but here we are running a Zenith for the Salvation Aura. Is very, very nice. So let's, and this is Fortitude right here. So let's go through the gear. So the thing with this one is we're running Eternity. So it's a fire build, right? But since we're Paladin, we are running Conviction ourselves, so there's no need for Infinity. Self-wielding Infinity aura is stronger, so that's why we're using Zenith on the Mercenary for resistances, because you see we are not maxed. And when we're using Dragon Scale for the Source of Hydras, we are losing the massive resistances that are usually found on the Paladin shield. So the gear is we're running Eternity to be able to revive council members. Steel Shade for block chance. Facets inside. Maros plus skills. We're running Dragon. Holy Fire Aura. And we can summon one extra Hydra. That is also very nice. Mage Fist for plus skill. SOJ for plus skill. Arachnids for plus skill. Wisp for plus skill. And we have Fire large charms in the inventory with Torch and Annie. So the build is did not mean to open that. Defensive, so we have resist cold and resist lightning. So because of the gear, so we have Water Walks with max fire res, we have Dragon Scale with max fire res. We don't need to put points into the resist fire aura passively. So we just have points in resist cold and resist lightning for that passive max res. One in redemption, one in salvation, max conviction, and max holy shield. I can't even remember where we dumped the... Oh yeah, we dumped the remaining points in Defiance for synergy with holy shield. We also have here a jungle map. Jungle is very, very nice for fire-based characters. Let me not have the mercenary behind the pillar there. So there we go. Shield, Hardwood Rain, and we have our redemption and salvation right here. All right. So the clue here is to kill these council members, as you see over here. If I can find him. There was a council member there. So we wanna resurrect as many of these council members as possible, and then you juggle. See redemption here, juggle redemption, immediately full mana, back to Hydra. So the Hydra Paladin is very nice, and it's just gonna become increasingly nicer throughout the map when you find. More council members to revive. There is a chance that if you get super crazy gear, you can like go something like River of Blood, because River of Blood also has council members. We have a council member over here. There. So then we have one more rest. There's actually succubi on this map, so it's a little jank. But it's okay. We have more stuff. Council members. There was one right here somewhere. Oh, there. So it's a very nice addition to the build. There's the council member, and here's a council member. So you're just juggling between putting down Hydras, activating Redemption, get your mana back, and resurrecting council members, reviving council members. And we are playing with a pretty decent FCR amount, so we can rest those, or we can put those Hydras down really quickly. The firing rate of the Hydra is also very nice. So this build is also like something of a meme for many seasons. People have been wanting to make this work, and as far as I can tell, obviously it's the same as the Sorceress we just tested. It's not going to win any speedrunning competitions, but this is just very solid. Oh, I actually casted Redemption on the council member there. That was not intended. So you want to make sure that you don't have Redemption active if you want to resurrect council members. It's a little bit of an anti-synergy, but once you get used to it, once you get used to being greedy with your Redemption, here we have one more over here. So let's revive that one first. There we go. Another. I don't. Oh, we might not be able to rest that one. Yeah, it's a champion, so we can't rest them. So yeah, fire damage just keeps increasing. It's a pretty cool build. It is a pretty cool build. I saw a council member up here. There we go. Got it. So we're up to 5 now. I think you can rest a total of 9 council members. That's 6. That's 7. So the fire damage just keeps increasing here. Very cool. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. There is no Joust in this build because it's an FCR build. But if you want to, you can absolutely invest 1 point in Joust to have a little bit better mobility to jump over like rivers and lava and stuff like that. As long as you have a target on the other side, you can use Joust. So yeah, very cool build, the Hydra Paladin. I like it quite a bit. Very safe. You're sitting in the background. You have max block. You have really high damage reduction. It is just overall a very cool build. Again, not going to be the fastest build you have played, but that is also not the purpose of this test right here. We're trying to find good alternative builds for those who have played the game for many years. So yeah, I hope you liked the Paladin. If you are interested in playing this build, let me know how you enjoy it, and if you found any you know, any small or large alterations to the build that might work better for you. Over to the next character. So it's time to test the Druid, and for the Druid we have built a character that I have been wanting to play in Lord Destruction actually for a very long time. I don't know why I have never ended up being able to play it, but this is the Hurricane Arctic Blast Cold Druid. The gear is very straightforward. It's very similar to what we have done before. So we have Infinity, Templar, and Andes with Leg of Hand, String, and Gorse. So it's our go-to Infinity Mercenary setup. If you are in rough conditions, you can go Crown of Ages. If you can't afford a 3-socket Templar, you can go what's his face, Fortitude. Yeah, but this is just a very like cookie cutter type of Infinity Mercenary. We are using Nightwing's Storm Shield for max block and the R 219 FCR because I like to play at 99. So this build, as mentioned in chat here, you might see it in the upper right corner. It doesn't live and die from 99 FCR because Arctic Blast is a channeled ability that doesn't get affected by FCR, and Hurricane is a durational spell that doesn't get affected by FCR, but the spacing in between the skills is affected. So if you want to cast Hurricane and then you want to Gust and then you do Arctic Blast, you will create a bigger gap between the spells when it comes to frames. So it just feels better to play it at 99 FCR than at 48, which would be the alternative below. Waterwalks for the block rate, of course. Combined with this will take you to 55. I think there is a breakpoint at 53, if I remember correctly. So it's a very nice combination, Waterwalk and Storm Shield for a Druid. Plus skills and FCR. So we have a really sick FCRing here. Tri-res with life and telekinesis. Arachnid Spesh. Trangs. So the best what you want to do here for this build is actually crafted 20 FCR gloves. So you want to craft caster crafts, the amethyst craft, and then use the ones that roll 20 FCR because it has mana per kill and potentially, I think you can actually get 3 resistances if I remember correctly. But if you get 20 FCR 2 res on a pair of caster gloves and then you corrupt, for instance, block chance, mana per kill, life per kill, something like this, that would be, in my mind, best in slot for this build. And of course we are playing Doom for the lowered cold resistance on target. CTA lidless on swap. Elemental skillers, Torch Annie, and some life res charms. I'm going to jump into a Bastion map as the previous characters that you might have watched in this video. I do recommend all these meme builds, clown builds, early builds, not early builds, but you know, unconventional builds that we are making this season to be played in tier 1. Some of them can be taken to higher tiers, particularly if you're hardcore. You have to be careful with it because the builds will force to be quite expensive for what you get out of it, because you are utilizing suboptimal skills and sometimes also gear pieces to make these different types of builds. So if you're softcore, play whatever you want, play where you're comfortable. On hardcore, get comfortable on tier 1 before you move on, because some of these builds are not intended for any higher tier maps than tier 1. So we're gonna be jumping into this this map right here, and let's see how it does. So we have a lot of stuff. Oh, actually, pardon me, we didn't go through the build. Let's do that. So we have nothing in Shapeshift. In Elemental, we have maxed Arctic Blast, maxed Cyclone Armor, 1 Gust, We have maxed Tornado and maxed Hurricane. The least of the used ones. Actually, now that I see it, yeah. So the reason why we're maxing Twister last is because Hurricane's synergy is Tornado and Arctic Blast. So we max Tornado and Arctic Blast, and then Cyclone Armor gives the same. So you see 10% cold damage per synergy skill. So that's why we take Cyclone Armor, because that also has defensive capabilities. And then you put as many points in Twister as you can afford, because we do have quite a few points in Summoning. You don't have to take all of these. I just like them very much. I like having 1 point in Oak Sage. I like having 1 point in Bear. I like having Solar Creeper for the mana regeneration. It's very nice. Yep, we are running Nightwing. It's a very nice helmet option for this druid. Okay, let's buff up and let's get going. We have quite a few things to cast here. Oh, wrong skill. There we go. So this build is pretty much Gust and channel. Gust on cooldown and channel Arctic Blast, while Hurricane slows down everything. So like the slow and damage capabilities of Hurricane combined with the Holy Freeze aura from your Doom is just really, really good. Really, really good. So you can telestomp the majority of packs with your Doom Holy Freeze. You have max block. You have good damage reduction. It's just a very durable build. So these witches, we can just stomp on top of their heads. So remember that Hurricane is a, let me see how long it is. It's a 180 seconds, so approximately 3 minutes is how long this lasts. So just make sure that you refresh that when you need to. It's a very, very cool build. Yeah, we only play hardcore Sheldor. The times we play softcore is when we are either testing stuff or we're doing like Holy Grail projects. So we're always playing hardcore on Project Dialbo 2. But I think for a druid like Hurricane, Arctic Blast, this is doing quite well, and with the added benefit of max block, very high DR, maximum resistances, even overcapped on fire, and you also have the Hurricane, cold slow. You have Holy Freeze on Doom. So it's a very, very durable build, not only for survivability but also for damage. It's very, very strong. I like this build quite a lot. So I hope that you will take the time to check out this build. If you are an experienced player, if you have played virtually everything there is to play in this game, and you want to try something that you have not done before, this Druid is it's a very good choice, since it is so durable, particularly for hardcore. I would absolutely recommend trying out this build. Again, as I said before many times, not gonna win you any speedrun competitions, but it's just super solid across the board, and it's a completely new archetype of character. So yeah, that was a Druid. Check out the Hurricane Arctic Blast Druid if you want to play something different this season, while we move on to the next character. All right, guys. Time to test the Necromancer, and it's a build that a lot of people have tried to make work for a few times. It is kind of a meme, not gonna lie, but we'll give it a shot. It is in fact the Psn Dagger Necromancer, as you might have seen from the icon down here. Gear first, standard mercenary as well. The only thing we did from the Infinity Mercenary is just to change to a Doom. Doom is extremely good for this character because of the Holy Freeze. It gives you a very, very high level of survivability, and it has very, very solid damage, so it can help you out quite a lot. Our gear is as follows. Call to arms, lidless on swap, of course. We're playing Martyrdom in here. A lot of proc things, particularly the bone armor on this one is why we are choosing to use it. We are using Bramble, of course, for poison damage. Plague, very, very nice with the FCR. We have Deadly Strike, we have all skills, we have also Poison Nova on striking. We cast lower resist. And you know the cleansing aura is super strong as well. So this is a very nice combination of items. Crown of Ages for the damage reduction, because since we don't have a DR shield, we go with Crown of Ages and Dungo. Maros, Venom Grip, Wisp for skill, Carrion Wind for the Poison Creeper, gives lower poison res, and Water Walk for the block rate. Inventory, Life Res, Torch Alley, and a bunch of Poison and Bone charms. It's been a minute since I've played this build, so I might mess it up, but that's okay. If you want to play this build, you obviously have to practice it. And let's take a look at the build real quick. What we are choosing to go with. So we have 5 golems, 5 clay golems. Blood Warp, I think I put in 10 points. I put in 10 points in Blood Warp, so just find the level of Blood Warp that you are comfortable with. 1 point for me was a bit too slow, so I chose to go with, I think it is 10, if I remember correctly. In Poison and Bone, we are maxing Poison Strike, Desecrate, and Bone Armor, of course. And then we have 1 point in Bone Wall for the synergy here. And we have also, I think it's 5 points in lower res. Oh yeah, that's what we did, I remember now. We took 5 points in lower res, and then we dumped all our points in Blood Warp. But you can find a balance between those abilities. In some cases, you don't even need to play lower res, because you very rarely cast it. You would just go. Because that's often faster than casting lower res in between. But sometimes you do cast it, so I enjoy having it. And if you have like bosses and stuff with higher health, it's nice to have lower res. We have made here a bastion map, not the highest density. Couldn't just be bothered finding something higher. So let's go and see what we can do. So it's a bit of a buffing regime here. So we have both the Poison Creeper and the Heart of the Wolverine. And then we have 5 golems. Rebuff everything. And then we have Warp, and we have Desecrate over there. So what you typically want to do here is Desecrate, Warp in, and then Dagger. And Desecrate, and then Warp in, and then Dagger. So you want to cast Desecrate first. You cast Desecrate on range, and then you Warp in. Like that. Oh, I messed that up. But as you can see, we have high damage reduction. We have high chance to block. The only thing we don't have, which you can definitely see, is mana per kill, and that is a common problem on the beta servers. If you have mana per kill here, this build can just go. It can just go without any stop at all. So I would just do the same. Desecrate, Port, Poison Dagger. Desecrate, Port, Poison Dagger. Desecrate, Port. Oh, that's a low res. Poison Dagger. It just kills everything. It's really, really cool. And with proper mana per kill and life per kill here, this build is very sustainable. Like you can yeah, look at our damage. Like our damage is ridiculous, right? So if you just get the rotation, Desecrate, Port, stab. Desecrate, Port, stab. Just do that all over. And then the damage is just ridiculous with 200,000 DPS here with Poison Dagger. So for something that is a very, very niche build that has been tried to make work for so many seasons, I'm very happy that this build can actually be played. Again, as many of the builds that we have highlighted earlier today, this is not going to give you win you any speedrunning records, not at all. But it's very, very solid. It's very, very solid. What you need to be a little careful of is to get animation blocked, like we were there. That's not so great. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, like the build, it's taking a little bit of damage now. You know, there was a metric fuck ton of creatures right there. But it is because we don't have access to corruptions right now. We don't have mana and life per kill. If we had those things, this build would be completely sustained. Absolutely completely sustained. There would be no issues whatsoever. So we just cleared out the entire hallway. It's such a cool build. It's a little bit janky to get used to the playstyle, because you have to do things in the right order. So Desecrate, Port, Dagger. That's the way you got to do it. So it's gonna take you a minute to get used to the rotation. That's why I mentioned it in the first place as well. But yeah, this is a very, very cool build. Very high survivability, very high damage. And it's just really, really fun to play. Well, it does poison damage. It does poison damage, right? And it's just like it increases the poison damage of the build. So Desecrate does 23,000 damage. Like that's not a slouch. You have to remember that Desecrate is a synergy for Poison Strike already, right? So you're using, you're putting points in Desecrate already to boost Poison Strike, right? And then if you look at Desecrate, it does almost 23,000 damage. So I would absolutely recommend to cast Desecrate on the area where you're about to port in, to like try to, you know, pre-spread poison damage, because it has a big area. Yeah, I cast Desecrate. There is a Poison Nova. No, not Poison Nova. I meant there is Bone Armor over here, so you get defensive procs from that if you get hit as well, and you have Poison Nova from Plague. So you have 3 different poison abilities. So when you Desecrate, port in, and then you hit, like that's literally 200,000 damage from nothing. It's such a high DPS build. And then the Poison Nova procs in the background. Yeah, you can definitely use revives. So this is something that many people mentioned. I'm gonna say this here at the end of this test video for the Necromancer. You can absolutely combine this build with revives. Because if you take a look at Desecrate, you have already invested points in Desecrate, right? So if you go to the Summoning tab for revives, it's a synergy for revive. So if you want to take revives instead of sinking a lot of points into Golem Mastery, that's something you can do. You can even sacrifice all the curses, because let's face it, we don't really cast it very often, only on bosses, and for that we can technically rely on Plague. So there are ways to make this build unique for you. I didn't want to do revive on purpose, because then I turn into a revived Necromancer. Because the revives become so strong because you have maxed the synergy, right? So I wanted to avoid the revives on purpose and utilize other aspects of the build, because I wanted to emphasize Poison Strike as my main ability, not the revives. So if you are interested in playing a Necromancer that plays very differently from anything else that you might have tried, definitely check out this Psn Dagger build. It is very, very cool. Very, very strong damage. Very high survivability with block chance. I think we have... yeah, look at this defense. We have over 6,000 defense. We have max block. And we have really, really high attack rating. So this is very, very, very strong. You can use Pus Spitter on Act 1, but I think Act 1 Mercenary, first of all, it's a terrible mercenary. I fucking hate it. It's the worst mercenary in the game, bar none, because it's out in Narnia picking flowers and weaving straw baskets while you're getting absolutely anally brutalized. I can't stand it. The Act 1 Mercenary is so terrible. The lower res would be more consistent. You would have a little bit more uptime on lower res. But for hardcore, I find the utility of having a very, very high damage mercenary like this is. It's a Doom Warpike. It has 1300 max damage. So it's a very high damage mercenary, in addition to having the extra 10% damage reduction from the Defiance aura. And there was one more thing. Oh yeah, the Holy Freeze from Doom on hardcore. Like, Holy Freeze is invaluable. It's so unbelievably strong. It, like, a lot of people kind of sleep on Doom. But we're not one of those. But okay, that was the Necromancer. Check it out if you want to play it, and we're gonna move to the next character. Alright guys, we are back with the second last clip. Second last character. It is the Amazon. And this is a build that has been played for a while. What we have done with it though is make the build specifically around one item. I'm sure there are better ways of building this character if you don't constrain yourself to one item. But because we want to play as a race resolve, this is what we have come to. So this is going to be a Joust Fend Jab Amazon, so a physical melee Amazon. We wanted to try to utilize this item for all that it's worth, because the whole Joust mechanic for mobility reminds me a lot of playing Zealot. So keep in mind, this build is specialized for this item alone. If you want to go different items a lot of the things that you're going to see in this video or this clip right here is not going to apply to you. So keep that in mind. Very, very specifically for Sorceress Resolve, this is what we have chosen to do. So we have the Mercenary. We are playing Reapers for the amplified damage, Templar and these, and of course Laying of Hands, String, and Gorse is like our go-to for every type of Act 2 Mercenary. Inventory, Sorceress of course, and we have Lidless and Battle Orders, Veil of Steel, High Lords, Shaft Stop, Laying of Hands, String, Gorse. We have 1 Wisp, and we have Ravenfrost. Inventory is just max life and life res, Torch Annie, and then max lifers over here. The build is as follows. We have maxed the Javelin Spear skills for Fend, Javelin Mastery, and Jab because they are synergies. In Crossbow we have nothing, of course, and then in Passive and Magic we have... So on swap, let me show you the reason. This looks a bit weird on main hand if you look at the skill number here. But Sorceress Resolve gives +2 to Valkyrie. So this is kind of janky when you're buffing up. So you want to make sure that you want to have 19 skills when you are on Battle Orders. So when you have 19 skills on Battle Orders, when you then cast Battle Command, it takes you to 20, and then you will get the extra Valkyrie. That is the point here. I think we did 10, or no, we did 13 actually, in each of these Evade and Dodge, based on the skills that we had. We took Critical Strike to 59. So at 61, there's heavy diminishing returns coming in, because the next skill level after you reach 61 is also 61. So this is where you would have to invest multiple skills to get 1% critical strike. So this means that Battle Command will now take us to 61, and we're not going to be investing any more points in that. We didn't touch Pierce or Penetrate. We left those as is, because we have a really high attack rating on this build. And then we just dumped the rest of the points equally in Evade and Dodge. I don't think there is anything more to say. Let me sort out the map, and then we will jump in. Okay, we have made the map, guys. Chose to go with a Fledgestone map here. Let's jump in and see what we can do. The speed of buffing on this character is crazy. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to summon the Valkyrie on swap. Here we go. So this melee build is quite cool. Very high damage, and it has a reasonable amount of sustain, DR, leech, all that jazz. So it's a pretty solid character. The mana leech is a bit of an issue here though, because we don't have corruptions. So we're gonna have to try and drink mana potions from time to time. But as a build, this plays very similarly to a Zealot. So you just joust in and right-click. Let's be honest here. Joust in and you right-click. Not very complicated. The complicated part of this build was actually to find a gear setup that didn't force you to get chunked so badly. Because it is a melee build without a shield, right? So you are gonna take hits.
Futureal spicy, Futureal spicy, Futureal spicy.
Hey, what up, Cosmic? Thank you so much for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I hope you're doing good. But as you can see, guys, the Sorceress Resolve Joust Javazon Spears on, Dementias on, whatever you want to call it, it actually works quite well. It is a really cool build. The attack speed is absolutely crazy. Really, really cool abilities that we can utilize here. I did lose my Valkyrie, so I'm going to summon a new one. If you ever lose a Valkyrie, I don't bother to rebuff them until you lose the buff yourself. It's not worth it. They are going to die from time to time. So yeah, it's a very cool build. It's a very, very cool build. I know that a lot of people with this build specifically has asked about boss damage. So I'm gonna take a short break. I'm gonna jump forward when we are at the boss. Okay. We have run to the last boss. Just rebuffed. So I'm just gonna show you the damage that this character does on a single target. So let's just go and kill the boss here. Might be some, yeah, there's some trash creatures in the way here. Let's just slap those first. There we go. So, damage is pretty decent on this character. Doink, that was a boss. 6 hits. The physical damage is pretty high. So yeah, it's a very cool build. You know, we can take a Crescent Moon, 2 skills, proc or corrupt 1 skill or 10 FCR on this, and that's a payday right there. But yeah, it's a very cool build. This it's very strong. It is kind of volatile because you're building the entire thing around Xera's Resolve. I understand that, but that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I wanted to highlight. So I hope you like this this Amazon part of the video. If you want to try this build, by all means, give it a whirl. It's a very cool build. It's really high damage. I don't even know if it says. Yeah, 31k. So 6 to 31k Fend damage, 29k jab. And we have 5,000 defense, just over 11,000 attack rating. So it's a very, very solid build. I really like it a lot. So check it out if you are interested. Now over to the last character, and for many, what they have been waiting for. We have arrived, guys. Final character. It is the Barb, and it's a build that I was unbelievably surprised how this played. It's hard to find a meme build to play with a Barb. There was, last season, a friend of mine, he played a bow Barb, which turned out to be quite good, but we already did the bow Sorceress, so I didn't want to do 2 bow builds. But the bow Barb is definitely a meme build, or a lesser popular build that you can play. It's actually quite strong. He was doing tier 3 maps with it in the last season, so it's very, very solid. But my brain started churning, as it does, and we decided to do a Rift Barb. So we are using Rift. It is a rune word, an old rune word. It's not exclusive to PD2. Here it has Frozen Orb and Tornado. So Frozen Orb proc, Tornado proc. Those are the 2 things that we want to emphasize. So how do we boost those 2 procs the most? Well, we start with the Mercenary, Infinity. Infinity for the Orb is, I think it's out of the question, the best thing to do, considering we're playing a Barb, no shield. We have the Defiance, we have the damage reduction. It's just the way to go. We put on Lava Gout for the enchant cast. That does give us some extra damage, even though it's not a lot. It's still some extra damage for free, so we will go with Lava Gout on this Mercenary. The rest is pretty standard for a Infinity Mercenary and the Templar String and Goer. So we wanted to boost this proc as much as possible. Nightwings for the Orb, pretty standard. Atmas for amplified damage for the tornado, also pretty standard, and Doom for the Frozen Orb again for negative cold res on that one. And we also have Molten Boulder proc over here, and we have Molten Boulder proc, or Meteor proc, and Molten Boulder proc on Hellmouth with negative fire res. So that is also a synergy with the enchant from the Mercenary. And we are playing the Innocence. This is what pulls this entire build together and allows these procs to go absolutely apeshit because of Blade Shield. Damage reduction, we want to go with that, so we go with Verdungo, we go with Raven for Canopy Frozen and attack rating, and we go with Wisp for the skill and the attack rating from Heart of the Wolverine. And for show, we have put on Silkweave here. Normally you wouldn't play Silkweave, but because we are so desperate for mana per kill, we chose to go with these. On live, you would have mana per kill on Corruptions instead of on boots like this. You would probably could use even Gore Riders. And the inventory is Cold Skillers with life, or Cord Large Arms with life, and some life res over here to balance the whole thing out for max res. The build is, I think we have 1 point natural res. We have maxed Iron Skin for the damage reduction. We have 1 point in combat reflexes, 1 point in increased speed. I think we have maxed general mastery as well for the swords. We have 1 point in leap, and we have maxed battle command. We have maxed whirlwind, and then we dump the rest of the points in battle orders. So the build is pretty straightforward. Not a huge difference from the standard Whirlwind Barb build, but the whole variance of this build comes in the gear, not necessarily from the skills that we choose to use. Because let's be honest, there isn't really that much you can do. But so we chose to take this from the gear side, and I think we have been able to make something completely unique. This is also the only build that I will showcase on a tier 3. The majority of these meme builds, like low play builds, niche builds, is recommended to play on tier 1 because they are quite expensive, and as I said, none of them will win any speedrunning competitions. So if you are playing these builds, I do heavily recommend to get very comfortable playing it on a tier 1 map before you choose to move on, particularly for hardcore. So we have a cow map, 222. And we will show you guys how this looks in the cow map. Alright, let's jump in and see what we can do. Okay. Let's see if we can find some mobs here. Okay, I think this is enough. So yeah, as you can see, we're not even doing anything. Well, that's the funny part about this build. Hey, we got the Matriarchal Pike. We found Zoray's Resolve. How funny is that? Alright, let's just sit here like this. No, I'm not spinning. I'm just standing there. So you can kind of say that this build is disconnect proof. It's a really sick build. So let's see what happens when we whirlwind. The procs just go absolutely insane. Okay, here we go. Oh, this build is so much fun. It's absolutely insane how fun this build is. You know, obviously we are taking a little bit of damage because we don't have mana per kill and life per kill. Particularly life per kill is a problem. We have a little bit of mana on the Silk Whips. I remembered we actually swapped those out yesterday. But this build is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. If we had a little bit of life per kill here from corruptions, like 5-6 life per kill, this it would be unstoppable. This absolutely unstoppable. Like, look at the amount of creatures we're freaking pulling here. This build is the build is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the fact that you can actually, like, literally just jump in and AFK, I mean, we can actually not hit anything. We can choose to not hit anything if we want to. If we had a little bit of life per kill here, we wouldn't even drop health. So yeah, this build is kind of strong. Like, obviously, we're not gonna lie. It's again, it's weaker than a conventional, you know, Whirlwind Barb. It is. Let's not claim differently. But the survivability, the entertainment value, it's just really cool to look at this build. And as I said, this is the only build that I'm showcasing on tier 3 because it is absolutely broken. It is broken. As a meme build, this is broken. I think it's by far the strongest of the builds that I've showcased. Very, very nice. So if you have played 100 different iterations of the Barb or even the Whirlwind Barb, check out this Rift Barb that we have made here. It's a combination between Rift and Innocence that is really making this pop off. The interesting part is that it has been mentioned in chat here during the last few minutes. There are a lot of different ways to play this Barb. You can use different weapons based on what type of damage you want to do, what kind of proc you want. It will all be enabled by this new Innocence rune word. And like there is a plethora of different weapons that you can put together. Doesn't need to be cold, you can do fire, you can probably do lightning, you can do poison. There's so many things you can do. Play around with it, check it out, and definitely try out this cold version of the build if you are interested. I would like to say though, there is one big benefit for going exactly this build over any of the other elemental whirlwind builds, and it's the fact that we have Doom in our offhand. We do have Holy Freeze, which is a incredible safety on hardcore. So yeah, check it out. This was a very, very cool build. And if you weren't aware, this is going to happen now with these characters. In Season 8, I am going to play one of these 7 characters that you have seen here. I'm not going to reveal which character I'm going to play until the day of the season going live. So if you want to guess, put those comments underneath which build I am going to choose. The result might shock you. Thank you so much for watching the video. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.